Good to see y'all. Missed you, man. So, big day for Tennessee football and the future of where we're going. Welcoming the class of 24, and great day. A lot of those guys are already here, but want to thank our coaches, our recruiting staff. There's so many people that go into to the work that takes place to sign a class on National Signing Day. Also want to thank all the high school coaches that have been so welcoming to all of us as we've traveled around our footprint and across the country. Coaches have been awesome. Lastly, want to thank the families that have entrusted their kids to us and helping them grow into the men and the players that they dream about. So really excited about this group. 27 guys at this point that we've signed so far. I think 15 of those kids are mid-year that are with us right now, the high school guys. We have a few transfer portal guys that are already here on campus as well. Excited about the group. Love the length, athleticism that we've added. You look at what we've signed. Obviously, a point of emphasis was the line of scrimmage. We continue to add really good players to our roster in that way, and then athleticism and length on at the skill spots. So I feel like it is a really good group. They're dynamic in the way that they play. Love the competitive makeup of this group. Some guys that have already shown some leadership traits, and excited to get to work with them whenever they get to campus. So with that, I'll open it up.
Yeah, Coach, kind of big picture recruiting. What are you've been in this business a while. What are the challenges now to recruiting? What are the adjustments that you and your staff have had to make, continue to have to make as the dynamics of recruiting appear to be changing out there?
Well, the dynamics are different in that your roster has an opportunity to leave at the end of the year as they look for the right place, right time, right fit for themselves. I think you look at our ability to retain a majority of our roster. You look at the guys that chose to come back for another year, a lot of veteran guys. Some of them had opportunities to move on to the next level, and feel like the culture, the energy, the ability to develop here, that it was right for them to come back for another year too. So there's a lot of things that go into it. I think the hardest thing in today's landscape is the uncertainty of the numbers. That can be with your entire roster. It can be with position groups. So because of the portal, the recruitment of these guys, and I'm talking about the fact that kids will still be going into the portal here into January. You're constantly evaluating your roster, where you're at, what are the needs that you have. You're looking for athletic traits. At times you feel like you need experience. At times you feel like there's guys that are on campus that you need to develop and get them ready to play by the time you kick off next year.
Does it make it impossible to project like 2 years? I mean, years in the pool is like you're thinking 2 years down the road. Does it make it difficult to do that now?
Well, you have to recruit with the mindset of still developing the guys as young guys that are coming on your campus. And at the same time, you got to understand that as you recruit during the course of the year, there may be guys that decide to leave your roster. And so your numbers at a certain position can change early and in the middle and at the late part of the season.
Josh, obviously there's going to be a lot of new look. It's going to be kind of a new look in the secondary next season. A lot of guys are headed out, some guys coming in, some guys staying with the program. How do y'all feel about sort of what position that position group's in going into next year?
Yeah, I like the physical traits of the guys that are in the building right now. We have some young guys that got to grow and mature as football players, but I love the athletic traits. That's true of the young guys that were with us this past season, true of the signees that are coming in. We felt like we wanted to add some experience at that in those positions. We've attacked that through the portal with a couple guys as well.
Josh, you talk about the trenches being important in this class. This group of offensive linemen that you're bringing in, Obviously, they're not going to have to step into day one roles because you have some veterans coming back, but how confident are you that they can provide some sustainability, if I can speak, and provide some depth right away with that room?
Yeah, it's a group that I really like. Their high-end competitive makeup. It's a really mature group. High school offensive linemen almost always are going to have to develop the physical attributes. I'm just talking about, the strength and size that you're going to need to be able to play at this level. A lot of those guys, I think 4 of them are already here right now. They've shown the athletic traits that we thought we saw on video. It's a long journey to get those guys ready, but it's a really good group.
Coach, having watched Boo Carter a few times in high school, he just kind of commands a certain level of attention on either side of the ball. What kind of mental makeup do you feel like he has? And then can you speak also specifically about Peyton Lewis and Mike Matthews?
Yeah, I might come back to you and ask you to finish out the names here by the end of it. Thought our staff did a great job inside of our home state. I think we got 8 guys that will be joining us in this class from the state of Tennessee. You mentioned Boo, Mr. Football, dynamic playmakers, played both sides of the line of scrimmage. Was really good as a returner as well. We've already seen a lot of those skill sets from him. This might be day 3 or day 4 already for him out on the grass with us. He's electric. He's got great change of direction, short area quickness, got a really good football IQ. He's natural as a returner, too. We've already seen some of that from him. So really excited about who he is. He's got a real maturity about him on the football field that's rare for a high school kid. And then, I got a chance to see some of that when I went and watched him play live, but also already in his transition here. The other 2 guys you asked about were, Peyton Lewis, a track kid that's, electric. With the ball in his hands. This year, you look at his development between the tackles, great vision, great ability, short area quickness, constantly chewing up ground as he's working through the line of scrimmage. Developed the ability to play with great pad level, smart, tough, competitive. Really excited about him. Mike Matthews has been really good the first 3-4 days already out on the grass. Got great length, just talking about his wingspan. Extremely explosive, the ability to go up and high point a ball over the middle of the football field or out on the edge as he's going vertically. As a wide receiver, you're going to have to develop the ability to play versus man press at the line of scrimmage. Those are things that you typically don't see. But a really bright guy that has got a great future.
Because these days the portal you can change your rotation and your roster pretty quickly. When you're signing high school kids now, are they asking more questions about what their path is to immediate playing time or to early playing time as opposed to what they would ask a few years ago?
Well, first of all, they've always asked that. I asked that question too. But absolutely, they're looking at your roster and what's going on in portal recruiting as well as a part of the process of what your roster is going to look like when they step foot on campus. And, they'll ask just a general overall philosophy question about that too.
Coach, just this league, and everybody can see on fall Saturdays how competitive this league, but what is it like on the recruiting trail to try and compete and keep up in this league?
Yeah, as competitive as it is on the football field, it's even more competitive in recruiting. The time, energy, effort, strain, everybody's working in the same footprint. I think we're one of the few leagues left where it's actually a regional footprint. You're competing against the guys inside of your conference every time you're talking to a kid.
Josh, the 3 transfers, you touched on the guys in the secondary. Just what do you see in Holden and Jacoby and Jamad in the secondary that made you want to add those guys?
Yeah, Holden got the physical attributes. You can see in his footage already that he's got the ability to play out in space, connected in the line of scrimmage. Has the body type and frame to do everything that we're going to ask him to do inside this league, inside of our offense. He's bright, competitive. He's got the makeup to help us immediately, and obviously that's a position over the last couple of years that we knew we were going to have to go attack in the portal. The secondary guys, they're athletic. They got great short area quickness. They're willing to be physical, stick their face on people. They have multiple years left that can grow inside of what we're doing. I feel like both of them can make an immediate impact, obviously, as well. Jacoby was out there today. Holden's on campus today.
Obviously, Josh kind of asked you about the quarterback. What did you guys like about Jake when you evaluated him, and kind of what do you see as the immediate steps that he needs to take?
Yeah, he's going to have to grow really quickly. He'll get spoon-fed as we start here in January and grow into spring football. Smart, competitive. He's got good fundamentals. We got to refine some of those things. He's already been working on those since he stepped foot on campus. But his football IQ, his ability to retain information, process out on the football field. He's a winner. He's competitive. He's got the right makeup.
You spoke about the 8 guys who are from Tennessee. How much of an emphasis in this class did you spend on finding in-state guys?
Yeah, we always are going to place an emphasis on it. We spend a lot of time and energy, communication with the high school coaches, guys that have their boots on the ground here. We're going to recruit them the right way. Doesn't mean we'll get every single one of them. Doesn't mean we're going to offer every single one, but we want to make sure that we're very thorough in the evaluation process, and based on where we're at and who they are and what their makeup is it the right fit?
You talk about going to the portal, but also recognizing you have some young, talented guys that have not found their way to the field yet. How do you balance that? Because when you go to the portal at their position, for them not to kind of get, okay, here comes a guy that could be take my spot.
There's
that
a
type
flip
of stuff.
side to the coin for sure.
Yeah, and then my second question would be, how big will the state of Tennessee be in 2025?
Yeah. Again, at the end of the day, you're trying to build your roster to be its best. That's in the immediate, but you also have to have a long-term future of it as well. You got to have kids inside of your program that you're developing physically within your scheme, and the culture and leadership that you want inside of your program too. So there's more changes to your program than there used to be in trying to project. I think it was Hubbs that asked about that. But at the same time, you got to develop from within it as well. State of Tennessee is going to be huge for us in this upcoming cycle. It always is, but next year's a great year inside of this. You can already see that with some of the guys that we've evaluated. We've got a great reception from the high school coaches across the state. In the short amount of time that we've been here, 3 years, developed really good relationships, rapport. We've had a lot of those coaches here on campus already that share and have an opportunity to come and spend time with our staff to get to know who we are and what we're about. But it's a great year inside of this state.
You mentioned to Wes about some of those young defensive backs needing to grow up and mature, which is natural. Yeah. But with the portal defections that you've had in the secondary, how ready do you feel like those guys are if needed in Orlando? And secondly, how set is your roster as you wrap up here and get ready to go to Orlando in terms of opt-outs, more transfers, guys going to the league, that type of thing?
Yeah, I think we're closing in on being more defined on our roster. With the portal dates, nothing is finalized at this point for any team across the country, and that's your own roster, but it's also guys that become available in the portal. So it's different than National Signing Day used to mean that was the end of kind of the transition of your roster, and your roster was known for the next year. At this point, there's a good percentage that you know about, but there's still going to be opportunities through the portal as we continue to go through the month of January. You look at last year, I think we had Omar, Gabe Judy, and Keenan Peely that were all added after the bowl game.
What about roster set for the bowl game?
Yeah.
Not additions for next year. I'm talking about the team that you had in November taking them to a bowl game. Are you pretty comfortable with who's going to be there, who's not? Is that set?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we're pretty set on a majority of those guys that will be traveling with us to Orlando. You talked about the young DBs. This is the time of year, 20 years ago, everybody played in the bowl game. There were really no opt-outs at that time. With the NFL, more guys have elected to do that. So, you look over the recent history of bowl games, it provides a great opportunity to the young guys inside of your roster that, may have played sporadically throughout the course of the season on offense and or defense, that get an opportunity to go out and play. And, they get game week preparation. They get a couple extra weeks because of the bowl preparation. But it provides opportunity, and I do feel good about the guys that will be out there in the secondary.
Yeah, Josh, with the quarterback position, is that somewhere where ideally you might add a veteran to that mix, or do you feel comfortable if you go into next year with a redshirt freshman and freshman as the two guys?
Well, I think quarterback is one of the positions you look across the country. It's hard to have the depth at that position that you historically may have had. We're going to continue to always evaluate. That's true at quarterback, but it's true at every position here as we go through January.
Is it hard if you did want to add a portal guy when you've got a guy like Nico, who's the presumed and assumed guy going into next season?
Yes, sir, it is.
Josh, I guess regardless of position, how much flexibility right now do you think y'all still have with the portal? I know that's the number always changes because you got guys that need to make decisions of their own, but I guess first part, how much flexibility do you think you have right now? And two, do you feel good about some of the options that are out there that y'all are talking to?
Yeah, I mean, the recruiting process for those guys, some of those guys make quick decisions. Some of those guys you've been in communication with that are already in the portal that, may elect to take a visit in January, or they're nearing the decision process, don't have it finalized by a day like today when I'm speaking in front of you. There's going to be guys that will continue to get into the portal on the back end of some of these bowl games too. That's where it's different than it used to be. Personnel that would become available, you have to constantly monitor and evaluate the player and the person here as you go, through Christmas, through January.
Josh, the tight end position, how important was it to add Cole Harrison and in addition to Holden Stays? And do you now like where you're at numbers-wise with scholarships in that room now?
Like the room where we're at right now, you're always going to continue to evaluate every position, like I said, and tight end would continue to be one. Cole was big for us because he's got length, athleticism. As he continues to develop physically, I think his traits are only going to showcase more. He's got really good ball skills. Has to develop in the core. That will happen through fundamentals, but it will happen through the growth on his frame.